Well, hello everybody. In today's video, we are going to start our progress of building an awesome city on this peninsula here. We were lucky that we rolled a rich berry and a rich wild animal deposit. We're going to go for as many food types as we can. One of the great new market mechanics is now, in order to hit your 4 food types, you can intermingle foods now. And I'll go into details on how to do that. We're going to be dialing in our workers, making sure they're placed in appropriate locations, and just in general, try to make the coolest and most efficient city we possibly can. Now the skill points that I'm going to use for this build are going to be apple orchards, trapping so that I can get advanced skinning to get the double meat, beekeeping for honey, and then trade logistics and barter deals to reduce the cost of barley. And that is how we're going to obtain the majority of our alcohol. So right there you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skill points. Now the first thing that I like to do is protect my berries. Essentially what you do is you place a farm plot around the berries. This protects them from accidentally getting cut down by foresters and woodcutters, okay? That's why you see people do this all the time. This is a tried and true methodology. Some people don't like the way it looks. Hopefully in the future, you won't need to do this anymore, but I will say that the farm plot also helps you to not place a building down over it, which will always delete them. So you can see that I have protected my berries. The second thing that I like to do is put a circle around my wild animals. Wild animals will run away from people and buildings, but to keep people from wandering in here, they're very adamant about following pathfinding. So we've found that the circle does a really good job of eliminating your animals running off, which is a current glitch that's kind of happening. So this is just a safety protocol. This also tells me, hey, don't go in there. So we have ourselves a beautiful circle, and I am going to connect to the best of my ability. Road like this. Now I want to try to make this build look as natural and nice as possible. Every episode is going to be highly edited, but let's start off. The game has changed quite significantly. Only storehouses and granaries can now operate market stalls. Also, the benefits from having multiple food types and all of that have been nerfed significantly. What we need to do to get everybody above 50% is obtain 2 food types and get everybody in a house. So what we're going to do is rush a logging camp, and I'm going to put this over here. And this is a great location because you want to keep your buildings in the beginning of the game as close as possible to the areas you're doing everything, because you only have 1 ox to move logs. The second thing we're going to get up is a food supply. And so we're going to get our wild animals up right here. This building is free, so we're going to prioritize that. The second thing that I want to prioritize is getting a forager hut up, a granary, market stall, and well. But we're going to let them take their time. The game is one of the best looking games I've ever played, and sometimes you can get very top-down view, especially in a management game, and you just don't take the time to appreciate the hard work. This is a brand new map to Manor Lords, and while we're just in a clearing field, it does not look very majestic, I agree. But when we get our city out over here, it is going to look very, very cool. My hope is to try to build as many people as possible. Now that market stalls are limited to only being able to carry 20 goods, you essentially want to build your burgage plots in groups of 20. For instance, if I have 22 burgage plots, I'm going to need an extra fuel stall. I'm going to need an extra stall for fuel and clothing. And I'm going to need extra stalls for the food types that I have to have. So there's this immediate cost once you go from 20 burgage plots to 21. So you want to make sure you're placing multiple burgage plots down when you're making these leaps. I will go over my strategies and tactics for this, but just to emphasize, we're not going to go over 20 burgage plots until every family is here. And then we're going to have ourselves a great little push. So we are getting the logging camp up. We're going to slap 3 people in there to start clear cutting as much trees as possible. Eventually, I do plan on moving the lumber camp over to this area, but like I said, we want to keep things as tight as possible in the beginning. Now we have the hunting camp up. We're going to put this up to 1. This is a rich deposit. The going rule of thumb is 50% of the population. So we're going to put this at half, which is 20. This right here should net me about 200 meat a year if I were to get multiple people. Now I also want to tell people another thing. If your generic storage gets full, you'll stop harvesting meat because they have nowhere to put the leather. So you need a storehouse. But realistically speaking, you could just slap down another hunting camp because they are free. It's just going to cost you that little extra time to build it up, but they're pretty easy to build. So what we're going to do is do 2 hunting camps so that when this one gets full of leather, I can alternate it out. Like I said, my focus primarily right now is getting the food, getting the granary, and just getting everything going. Now, what I like about what we have here is that we have the meat and we have the wild berries right here. So I want to avoid anywhere that I think I'm going to be farming. This whole area right here, I'm going to be definitely doing Emmer on. Even though it's low, anything over 40% fertility is still going to get you a good gain. Now, I could have gone into rye, but realistically speaking, we're going to be able to get enough Emmer. And because I'm going to be pushing our population to pretty extreme limits, I'm not too worried about the labor cost. I've had good success with just Emmer fields, and I'll show you how I do that. So just, stick around and you'll see what I do. We don't need to have perfect bread. The bread is going to complement the berries. So the bread and berries are going to be one food group. Now you can split. You don't have to have one food type maxed out. You can intermingle them. You just have to have 4 different food varieties and it will split it up. And I'll show you how that works in the later stages. So it really opens up a whole new play style to this game. And before I forget, you should also definitely put down another hitching post and get an ox as soon as possible. A current glitch that's occurring is that the ox can sometimes be summoned from a faraway region, so it can take a significant time for that second ox to reach you. I try my best not to overwhelm the individuals as they are doing their jobs. You do want them kind of dialed in. So let's speed this bad boy up a little bit. Okay, we have our logging camp. I'm going to put 3 people in here. I'm also going to go to the advanced tab and set the work area to right here. So now I do not have to worry about these logging camps destroying anything over here because I have protected it. Beautiful. So we do know that we're going to do farming here. So what I think I'm going to do is place a granary right here. Place the market stall right behind it. We're just going to do a generic little market stall, but let's make it look a little nice, right? Make this little road from the meat area, granary. And we're going to place our market stall in a backyard extension right here. There we go. And the reason that we're building the granary is because we need the granary to get a market stall. You can no longer use hunting camps or any other building to generate market stalls. It has to be a granary. So the only way for us to get this up is to do so. The next objective is going to be boards and getting a church up to just greater strengthen that approval rating. But this is the fastest way we can get our approval rating up. That also benefits us by getting food. We were in March. Had I started in winter, I would have probably prioritized wood cutting. So given the difficulty, given the scenario, everything is relative. In this scenario, this is a good strategy. The hitching post is up. We're going to order an ox. We can see our other ox, which I cannot say the name of. I'm going to call him Larry. He is bringing a trunk over to, or I don't know where Larry's going. I think Larry's off on the sauce again. Lady. Come back. Oh, she's dragging the log to storage. That's so annoying. So that's another problem is you could say that building the logging camp first is a little annoying now because there's a couple things going on here. But that's all right. We're having a good time. These guys are, digging and they look like they're happy. I mean, who wouldn't be? What are their names? Lawrence and Thauman. So like Tom, and it's definitely like Larry or Lauren. Like Lauren and Tom has a great fashion sense. If I were to go downtown right now wearing a bright orange tunic, and I mean actually that is he's got color coordination on lock, and he's got it locked down. You can see our supplies are over here. I also want to get this bread. The spoilage is very high because it's on the ground. So the sooner we get this granary up, the better. Now they are hauling the stone by back. So this is another advantage to having everything as close as possible. My goal is to try to get our first family by May, but we need to get the approval up before we can do that. We definitely want to get our first forager. I'm going to set our forager. I usually set them right next to the berry patches, but I really like this land for farming. So let me think a second here. Because you see the farmland comes down here. Right here is probably the perfect place for our berries to be. I'm going to put a road going sideways from the berry. I do want to maximize as much emmer as possible. I do anticipate that the population of this town will be quite high. I want to make it as cool as possible. We're going to go right here. And that protects the farmland that we want. Yeah, we lost just a little bit. We're not going to build on orange. So yeah, right here is going to be it. So we actually have some more room here. We may even put a woodcutter in this region and just make sure that it doesn't impact the animals. Everyone is hard at work. Our magical... Ooh, we got our second ox. Name... No, that's not... That's the same ox. The ox, he who shall not be named for monetization reason. I can spout conspiracy theories about New Jersey drones, but the minute I speak in another language, YouTube bans me. We're going to speed this up just a tad bit. We just need to get this forager going to get the second food type. We got our granary. I'm going to pull this down to one person because we have plenty of logs now. I'm going to put one individual in the granary. We have enough for the houses that we want to build. Again, I want to be very careful about where I put things. This area right here is perfect for our first settlement. We're going to build these houses in a nice little pattern, like a nice little community. I'm going to use a happy smile or a half circle. There we are. We're going to build these 3 houses with double burgage plots. This is going to allow 6 families. Now we're only going to build double burgage plots because double burgage plots only consume 1 fuel, which is another added advantage. And also, because of the way that market mechanics work now, fewer burgage plots you have, the fewer market stalls you need. And we'll go more into those logistics. I also have a guide on market stalls and how all that works. If you would really like specifics, go to my channel and check out my guides column. Everyone is doing a fantastic job. We're getting our meat. We're almost full on hides. We're going to increase the priority of the forager hut. I have noticed and others have noticed that building things does seem to take just a little bit more time. But our glorious and wonderful ox, Larry, is transporting this log to the forager, so that should get up soon. Once I get these multiple food types, I'm going to get that bonus. And once I get everyone out of the cold and into a nice house, they will stop hating me. Slightly. More people will approve of me than disapprove. Which is a really good place to be in life, because quite honestly, sometimes I feel like more people disapprove of me than approve. If I could get a 51% approval rating in life, I think I would be in a better place. And there we go. Now we have a gentleman in the forager. The madame over here is with our goat, that's not a goat, our ox, Larry. All right, we're getting these houses up. I'm going to allow them to focus on these houses. So we're in a great place. We have a food stall, and we have a granary. I like your style. He looks... I mean, I think that I'm going to go on Amazon after this and order this getup. It's just, Lawrence is really fashionable, and to be honest, I feel like if I were to embrace the Lawrence style of life, that it would improve vastly my social interactions. Just another day on the job, guys. But once we get these beautiful and majestic burgage plots up, we're going to be in terrific shape. Now, these burgage plots are most likely going to be dedicated to berries and hunting. We're going to need to think wisely about where we put buildings and making sure that those individuals have jobs near them. I want to be a little bit more intelligent about the way I place things. I know people have asked that I focus on more of the efficiency of design, and so that will be a big direction for this Let's Play. All right, it's April. We're going to speed this up. We just need to get these houses up, and we already have 2 food types. Right now, the granary worker is just a little overwhelmed bringing all the food from all these areas. Our generic storage is 1 over. It looks like they may have allowed us to do mass storage. Abundance of caution, I'm going to pull him out and throw him over here. Okay. And at this time, I'm going to pull the last logging camp out so that I have 2 families building. Let's get these guys up so we can hit 54 before the end of April. I probably should have honestly done that a little bit earlier. And look at these majestic, wonderful, and beautiful houses. We're going to upgrade these to the extended living spaces. These 3 will have 6 homes in total for us. Okay. And so now what we can do is get this extra living space up. And we're also going to get up the storehouse, which I'm going to place, hopefully, somewhere cool. I like this spot right here. Right here. Perfect. It's a grand place. Get the storehouse up, which we'll be able to put firewood and clothing into this area. And also, most importantly, just get all of our stuff off the floor. Which isn't doing anything bad to us, but I just don't like the way it looks. But we do actually have firewood already. So now if I get this storehouse up, we will get the benefit from giving firewood out to people. I'm going to save the 30 wealth that I have for my veggie farms. We actually currently have 3 food types, so we're doing beautiful. We have 2 ox doing a fantastic job. We're going to get these houses up. Everybody is now off of the streets. We were getting our 3rd family members. We're at 49% approval rating. So once I get this storehouse up, we're going to put an individual into this location, and we will have firewood, 2 types of food. We are in May, so I'm hoping to attract... There we go. I'm hoping to attract our first individual at the end of May. I'm going to put a person into the logging camp now that we are at a timber, and away we go. Very awesome. We have 1 month of fuel. What I'm trying to do is just get that little bit of 51% bonus. All right, and we are actually going to put a woodcutter's hut right here in this area. We will make sure that we do not impede on the wild animals. I'm going to pull our individual out of hunting. The storehouse has now removed all of the leather, and we're sitting in a really good place. We'll get a tannery up with our 6-person likely, but we need to get boards first. I am going to maintain board production over here and rely on logs being brought to it. I've learned the hard way that it's better to have your boards near where things are being produced with boards. And it's just a preference that I think will yield good results. We are above 53% now in May. We have a market food variety bonus of +5. We just got our first family in June. Awesome. So this is, in fact, a de facto perfect start guide, potentially pending any changes. Sometimes your approval ratings can be kind of weirdly fluctuating, so had that been 49, I wouldn't have got that family. But overall, we did a good job. So what we need to do is maintain that approval. So we have over here a woodcutter's lodge, which we're going to turn on. And then we're also going to get up a facility for cutting boards right next to our storage. And right next to all these beautiful houses. Now, one thing I want to do is make sure that I have really nice pathways in and around my town. And we're going to put the saw pit right here next to the storehouse. It's fantastic. We also want to come to the woodcutter's lodge, go to the advanced tab, and set the work area. This is another nice reason for having a circle around your animals. Is you can easily identify the location of where you want your radius. We have plenty of firewood here. It's beautiful. We're also going to need boards to build a bridge. We're also going to build a boardwalk in our town, which is something that I don't see a lot of people doing. And it's a neat little trick you can do with roads, and I will show you in a future episode how to do that when we have the resources to do so. All right, we are at 100% variety. So once we get the boards going, we'll be able to get a tannery up and a church. That is our next objective. These people need The Lord, and we shall provide. We shall provide the Lord to these people. Now time also to get the well up. A well will fulfill the needs of 15 burgage plots. Water access is needed to go to tier 2. Saw pit is getting in motion. Alright, we also want to get another house up. We're above 51% again. We need to get a house up ASAP. Water access is needed to go to tier 2. Saw pit is getting in motion. Alright, once that saw pit is up, we also want to get another house up. We're above 51% again. We need to get a house up ASAP. We have a good little bit of room right here, but buildings close to your animals will scare them. So we want to be a little mindful of that. So let's look for an area that we do not intend on doing anything in. Barley too. So you can, even on this orange stuff, sometimes grow barley. We have the worst barley. We're probably not even going to bother trying to grow barley. And that's fine. So let's just avoid the emmer. So we have kind of like a natural flow right here, I think. We also want to make sure that in our saw pit, before we turn it on, we're setting a timber limit of 5. This is how much you need for the church. This will save you a lot of banging of the heads. I put mine to 4 once, and then I needed 1 log to build the church. Very upset. Make sure that this snaps in right. All right, we're doing beautiful. We have 3 timber. We need 1 more timber to build those houses. I'm going to just preemptively build 1 house because we do need to get another house up. All right, we're going to just do this one right here. That's really weird. And we're going to slap that up to the highest priority. We need to get it up immediately. Before the end of June, please. We have 2 ox, so hopefully we can get this going. Typically when I do a perfect start guide, I film it about 5 or 6 times because I'm always like, oh, I could have done this just a little bit better. I could have just done this just a little bit better. The game feels just a tad bit different in the flow, so it does kind of throw you off. All right, I'm not going to upgrade this house because I wanted until the month ticks because I wanted available for the family to move in. So even though I should have, in my opinion, had this house up just a tad bit faster, we still were able to make it in time. All right, we're doing a great job. 1 individual over there. Logging, we have 1 person doing berries. We have 1 person doing woodcutter. We have 1 person in the storehouse. We have 1 person in the granary. And soon we'll have 1 person making boards. Right now we're above 50%. So I just want to focus on maintaining what we have. And what we have is beautiful. A beautiful thing. Now I'm trying to scope out church locations. I think right here is a probably excellent place for the church. All right, we got our next family. So we're going to double this burgage plot up. A beautiful thing. And we're going to put 1 individual into the saw pit. Actually, we don't have enough logs. So let's double up the log people and let everybody else catch up. We need a bit of logs first. We just went below 50% again. That's why, you know, getting a church up as fast as possible, once you're able to maintain that 51%, just makes your life a whole lot less RNG on attracting those families. Our food is wonderful. We have 177 berries, 25 meat. The meat, we don't have anyone hunting at the moment. We're going to pull out of berries because we have enough and a lot of it's going to spoil. The animals are at 29 and we're going to go back into meat. I want to maintain the 2 food type bonus. It would really suck to miss out on a family because I was not paying attention to that. We have enough room for the church. And then over here, I want to get... look at that. But this one doesn't have an extension. I think we'll wait until we get the church up. We still have 1 extra living space. And the church is going to be coming up pretty soon. I'm going to put 1 person. No unassigned families to guide the ox. That actually is a problem. I'm going to take 1 individual out of there. We have 6 logs. So now any extra log we have will be brought over to the saw pit with the spare family. So I guess you could say the advantage to assigning 1 person to the hitching post is to make sure that you do not forget to have unassigned families. But I still shy away from ever doing that. The 2 ox are definitely helping, and we're not too far away, the saw pit, from where we need to be. But yeah, it doesn't look like you get a bonus from the well going up, so the well is technically just a requirement of going to tier 2. I'm hoping at some point they give us an amenity or approval bonus, I should say, for the well, because that would make a whole lot of sense. You know, having access to drinking water typically makes people just a tad bit happy. We have 25 months worth of fuel, so I'm going to pull this individual out. There's absolutely no reason to have that much fuel. Firewood is also a good early game trade. We're going to throw him back into... Actually, berries is good too. I do tend to micromanage quite a bit in the very beginning, but later I go to a set it and forget it approach for the majority of my village. We do now have 20 planks and the wood available. We are going to build a glorious and wonderful church. And shrines are free. And so I want to make the back area behind this gorgeous. We're going to build these little shrines out. And we also still have some spare logs, so we can get this house out. Okay, look at that. I can get the extension right there. I think that looks a little weird. So I think what we're going to do actually is come with these houses from a different angle. Oh yeah, look at that. That's kind of cool. We got that house entry right there, house there, extension, extension, extension. I like it. Just a little bit different. And looking out, we got ourselves our little village. Growing strong, a mighty river. We're going to be doing some great things here. Okay, so now that we have the church, our priority is focusing on growing the town. So I will need to build out our first Brondo, and I will need to start getting this area out. Now what I'm thinking about doing is bringing a lot of food production into this area, but I will also need to bring in industries and things to utilize the population that's here. We may actually have to have 2 bridges for that reason, because there's lots of logging and things that can be done here. Because this map is so big, there's going to be a balance between efficiency and using all of our space. Also, putting the majority of our population on this peninsula and then building a giant fortification here, I think is going to look really cool. So we'll have a fortified entry point into this location, and we'll have multiple bridges that we can cross. That is going to conclude the first episode. Please let me know if you would like to see more of this series. I will definitely continue it if the demand is there. If you like the video, hitting that like button really helps with the algorithm. Thank you guys, and have a cool day, I guess.